Matt and I both are sporting our ties today, so we're not really sure what's going on. Apparently, we're trying to do some business. Today, we've got the pleasure of bringing on two guests. We've got Igor and his partner. His partner's name, I'm not sure if I can pronounce it. It is Nikita. Actually, hopefully that's right. Without further ado, I'm just going to bring him on, and we'll just jump right in. I'm like the worst podcast host ever. Hey, what's up, guys?
It's all fun, though. Number one, thank you for having us. It's always a pleasure, right? And if we can share something, if people can learn, that's my biggest pleasure in the world, right? So thank you guys for having us. And Nikita.
Yeah. Hi, guys. Hi.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Good. Usually we just we start off by just having you guys kind of give your background to the audience. They know that we're typically talking about capital raising, syndication, real estate investment. We usually just have you start with like, how did you get into real estate to begin with? What were you doing before real estate? And how did you get to where you are today?
Yeah. So I'll tell you a funny story, just one little funny story. So number one, before we connected, we were like working hard on presentation because we're talking to 150 family offices, managers on 24th. And this is exactly what we just practiced. But the one challenge is Nikita moved from St. Petersburg in July. Okay. So
in late August.
Yeah.
So
he's actually
only 4 months.
Yeah. So he's speaking English a lot better than me. I moved 14 years ago, couldn't speak anything and then I need to call all the banks and settle the debts. That was like very interesting story. So, but what I'm saying is he might be a little bit on the second role and just because he cannot articulate those things. But again, just hang in with him and then, okay. A little bit of background. 14 years in LA, my favorite city in the world. Professional sports. I play professional water polo, and one of the guys actually we played together. It's UCLA head coach Adam Wright, and we started. I was a civil jury, the assistant judge in Russia, and then we moved to US, and we actually opened a business. It was a basketball academy. We have 5 locations right now, but close to 500 people, right, serving every day. So, and that business led me to really develop myself. Number one, we went to BA, right? I started to learn how to do the business because it was a passion, actually. My first degree was PE teacher and coach. My second degree was civil law. When I started to do the work at just the local schools, and I was professional back then as well. So when I finished that first degree, so it was not about money for sure, because I was earning pretty good income, but it was about where's my passion is. And then once I stopped playing, I was like, can I connect my passion to the income? I was like, kind of, you might be able to, but it's tough. So, and then it led me to something like, oh, you know what? I want to quit the law. And then as a profession, I really like the learn and the school and the language and protecting people, and if you get hurt you can go back to the law system and it's going to protect you. But then stepping in the reality in the real world, I was like, oh man, it's not what I thought, and it's different, and it's not like a sports. It's per whoever stronger, whoever better, they wins. It's different, right? If you got a better connection, more money, you pay here, you pay there, you might influence something. So anyways, I didn't see myself there 20 years from the starting point. I said, let me do something else. And then we moved to US and we opened basketball academy. And I didn't even work for first maybe 2-3 years. I just really enjoy being there, talking to kids, speaking to the parents, thinking about the future, how we can develop and this and that. And then on the year 4 or 5, it became a business because, people start to recognize the passion, and it's connected to, oh, you know what, we want to bring more and more friends and this, and the partners start to reach out. Do you want to open here? Do you want to open there? So anyways, from what I'm saying is my first life is a sport guy, and then it became the law guy. And then I was like, you know what? And I became the business owner. As a business owner, I started to educate myself. I went to school. I went to accounting classes, business administration classes. I really started to tread from the passion. It became, okay, can I become a good business owner? And then that was the second transition of my life, like a second big transition of my life. And then I started investing in real estate back in Russia, like well over more than 40 years ago. And it was a saving account on the bank. it wasn't like, oh, how much ROI, how much IRR, like what's the time frame, like can we do this? It was just really, let me set the money aside. I don't know what I'm doing. I heard this a really good idea from a bunch of people, and I read a bunch of articles, like the billionaires in US, like half of them own big chunk of the real estate, right, in the net worth. And then I said, okay, that's probably a safe place. And then from the point when the business started to grow and we got more and more income coming in, I said, okay, what's the deal? It's like, where you actually put the money? I started to test different products, like we got stock market, we got different businesses, and all that was really fun until the point. So I sat down one day, I said, listen, which one was the most secure and the most profitable? And then where's my focus should be, like, where can I focus myself without like spreading too thin all over the place? And then where's was the most success, right? And I really counted, and the real estate was the place. I said, listen, the real estate is the place. You might not get 5x in 1 year, right? But you're not going to lose it tomorrow. So, and then that started to push me more and more towards real estate. And then, so the more investment property I was acquiring, the more of the intention and the focus it just asked me to bring to the business. And then I started to kind of shift over. And I got lucky because my wife and me were always 50-50 in the first business. I said, listen, there's a time right now when we need to split. So we need to split the forces. You're the brilliant entrepreneur. You take one part, and then I'll take another route, and we're going to be a successful, and you grew the company to whatever you want, and I'll grow my other side, which is already grew by a certain point. So, and that was a no-brainer for me. So, and that's a little bit. And then one day, I'm going to transition to Nikita right now a little bit. So one day, it's the guy was last name is Gold. I'm not going to say the first name, right? So we go to his house, and he said, listen, I got a good friend coming from St. Petersburg. You might have a lot in common. Do you want to show up? I said, yeah, for sure. And we live like 5 minutes away from each other. And I show up there, and then it's Nikita at the table. And we're like, hey, what is your dream? I was like, I want to buy apartment complex. He was like, man, I want to buy apartment. Let's do it. Like, let's do it together. And we're like, man, I'm talking to myself. I was like, there's no brainer. We should just, and we formed the company, I don't know, maybe the next day, the day after, like immediately we formed the company. And the tradition was we start to sell out pieces, right, the single pieces, and pour the money into the fund, basically, and start to invest in different syndications. And that's how, because walking around, it was in Encino back then, right, in California, easily $20 million, like a small building, I don't know how many units, let's say 10 units, 20 units, I don't know, like you name it. It's a very big market, right? So can you buy it yourself? Questionable, right? Do you want to buy it yourself? That's another big question. Do you want to manage all of that thing? It was like, no, we want to be with the people who knows what they're doing. We want to see the good partners. And then that's how the journey started. And we started to build that spreadsheet of, I don't know how many we got, like 500 different operators. It was a big challenge for us. Like, where's the good one? We started to ask for referrals. Like, anyways, it took us like about 4 years to vet out all the people, to really test some of them with our own money, right? To prove that model, to start to see income coming in, like, because my internal being was, I cannot completely sell the product if I didn't test it myself, if it didn't work for myself. How would you sell something if it didn't work? Like, how do you know that? And then it took us about a year to really turn that thing, like turn the mold in the brain, and we start to turn it. Oh, listen, so the dividends start to come into the account. It does work, because it felt like a scam. I'm telling you, listen, first maybe 3 to 6 months, it's a complete scam. Like, where's that from? So what's a syndicate? What's the freaking syndication? Like a bunch of people, they don't know each other. You know what I mean? It was like so much tension in the beginning. And then it just completely disappeared. We're like, man, it works. Like, listen, we should tell as many people as possible it works. And then I was managing my unit. Like, I was like, I don't know, I get it like 10% a year, if so. And then all of a sudden something happens and it's all wiped out in a second, right? And you get 0% minus 10% per year, right? I was like, what is that for? Like, you got all the management burden, you got all of the responsibilities, right? You got all the debts on yourself, right? And you get zero income, basically, right? So anyways, let's start this thinking. So I want to give it to Nikita a little bit. You want to introduce yourself just quite a bit though.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Gary. That's very exciting. And so we are quite different with Igor. Yeah, I'm a little bit more math guy. I will explain it a little bit later. Yes, and I will introduce myself like in an Excel. I just give you maybe short introduction. I see about four, how to say, transition in my life. The one is from the small guy to the math guy. Another one from the math guy to the businessman, and the last one is from the businessman to investor. And that's not the final one. I'm sure. So I will have something more in the future. Yeah, I was like a bandit when I was young. I mean, I didn't want to learn anything. I didn't want to do anything. I just want to be with my friends and do nothing. But my mother wanted to see me like a really smart math guy, and so eventually I passed the best school in St. Petersburg. It's not in Florida, guys, okay? The St. Petersburg is a big city in northwest of Russia, 7 million people in it. Yeah. And after that, I passed there are three these type of university, this type of faculties in the university in Russia, where you can get the pure math. It's not the technical, it's a science. Yeah. That was crazy, really crazy. That wasn't my choice, for sure. But yeah, the math bandit guy, that's kind of strange. Yeah. Okay. And I started to do my first business when I was 21. Now I'm 43. So in 22 years, I'm involved in business. And I love it. I really love it. The same, like I love to be in investment. I love to do business. Yeah. That's really very interesting. That's the main field when I create something in my life, So my wife, she's painting, for example, but my paint field is the business and investment right now. When I was 34, I got out from the business, from day-by-day operations. Okay, so I'm not in operations right now, and in already nine years. And 8 years ago, I started to invest in real estate in the U.S. Why in U.S.? I'm from Russia, yep. And I'm in Los Angeles. I moved to Los Angeles only 4 months ago. I started to spend a lot of time in U.S. About 7-8 years ago, 8 I think. So 9 years ago. I'm sorry, guys, for so much numbers. Yeah. Yeah, but so okay. I'll try to don't push a lot of in numbers now. Okay, so 8 years ago I started to invest in real estate. It was I bought one 4-unit house, one 2-unit house. I made this just a small, and I wanted to grow, to build the model when you just buying the houses like this, and to grow in the turnover, the cash flow, but this model was, how to say, I don't know this word, so it was distracted, I don't know, by the management problem, the property management problem. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's the craziest part of this business. When you have 550, I don't know, 70 houses. I didn't have like this. Yeah. So you I don't know what about 50, 70 maybe. Yeah, maybe in the 50, 70 you already know how to manage. But if you have 5, 7, you definitely don't know how to do it, and you don't sleep, you don't eat, you just manage this kind of properties. Okay, so in one moment I found the model with the multifamily. Okay, just it's similar but not similar. So it's kind of the same. So but with the big amount of the different type of multifamily, the big amount of doors, yeah, not 2, not 4, it's 200 or 400. Okay, it's more complicated, more stuff to do, but at the end of the day, it's different numbers that I like, as you already know. Okay, what's in the end? So for 4 years, we are with Igor. We are different, and that's our power, I think. I'm sure that's our power. Okay, and we are building our fund in the real estate already 4 years, and we are happy about this. So
Nice.
And I'm in
Thank
LA.
you.
That's
Thank you,
amazing.
Nikita. Yeah, that's a great story.
Where are you guys buying currently?
Oh, that's a good question. So the last one we did, we actually, I don't know, you Mark, you know Ben Fraser, right? Really well. So it was in Kansas City. And the story was, I was in Kansas City maybe about, I would say 5 times in the last couple of years. So one of my friends, they have a lake house, and every time we go there, so we go through the Kansas City. And my first impression was, okay, that's just again, it's after Los Angeles, a little bit smaller city, right? Very conservative as well. And I was not, I would say, convinced or sold in the beginning, right? And then when the band came over, right, was a deal. It was a Overland Park deal, Madison Overland Park deal. We found, so there's a whole bunch of, it's community, right, which is just built in the last 10 years. And when I landed to Kansas City, it was intention to go over the property and see the places, right? I was like shocked, right? Because as you go through the airport, right, and you drive in towards this downtown, right, it's a one picture. But once you start to enter the Overland Park, right, just the landscape, it changes. It's like a brand new. There's a big, wide roads. It's all just paved. A lot of industrial development, right? There's a lot of retail, right? And then, so the idea of they're saying, okay, we want to do the walkable communities from spread out communities where if you want to go to the theater, you got to drive 10 minutes, right, by car. To I live next to the plaza where I can shop, entertain, leave, and come back home by walking. I was like, wow, that's incredible. So, and then my first thing was, okay, let me look at the vacancies. I went through every single one, and I don't know, let's say it's a 200 unit big industrial, not industrial, big retail, right, complex. And there's 2 vacancies. I was like, man, that's insane. Going through Los Angeles, I go to the plaza and there's 2 or 3 places vacant for years, years. And there, right, I would say, sorry, it's in the middle of a very small, city, and there's no vacancies. So, man, that's a very popular thing. There's a demand, right? If there's no retail vacancy, I'm not talking about the residential thing. So, and then when we look at the macro and we will look at the economics, wow, that's a really good thing. So, speaking of your question, it was a Kansas City, right? That's the last deal. So, and then before that, so we did the storage, and we got scared a little bit by interest rates and changes. So we said, okay, it's a little uncertain. And then we start again, being a business owner, so you got that background. So let's look at the valuation of properties. What are they actually doing? So, and then the valuation start to tank on the multifamily side. And then we look, oh, what about the storage? Nothing happened with storage, still the same, right? And the idea of people living in place or the things are living in place, it's the same idea. Besides the storage facility, if the payment is low enough, all right, if it's not raising every month, I would say, there is no intent, attention or intention, you're not going to be moving your stuff to the next storage, right? So, right. And then if something happens as when the economy turns a little bit, right, people start to downsize, they need that storage space, right? The COVID was a great sign of that as well. So, and then we transitioned to the storage. We did a couple of storages, and I think one of them Florida, the other one, I don't remember where it was. It's been a bunch of months ago. Anyways, and then the last one was Kansas City. And then the one right now, so we're doing a land deal. And the reason why, there's no leverage, zero. There's zero, if something happens with the land, the only downside in this position right now, it's going to take us a longer time to develop. And it's a paper development. That's another thing. So we had a couple projects when we got in, and it's a deep renovation. It's not even construction. One is construction, the other one renovation, a deep renovation, right? From the hotel to the small units, small affordable units. And Oakland, California, actually, one of the first projects of ours. And then, so we got the problem after problem after problem, because they open the walls. There's a plumbing, there's this, there's electricity. It doesn't comply with the code, which is just modern code. They just change it. And we got, and the idea, just to comprehend the idea, was from 3.5, it became $8.5 million to change that thing. And it just killed the whole thing. So we're still profitable, but again, the whole idea of double-digit return was almost killed. Right now, with the 10 or 9% instead of like 20 or more. So having that experience, we said, okay, how we can shift. Maybe it's not forever, right? Maybe for now, but let's see how we can shift the model. So let's say, okay, there's no leverage. We don't play that risk with the banks, right, and interest rates. And the second idea was, we want to touch the ground. We want to touch the building as less as possible in this environment, because every mistake just compress and then just puts pressure right on the return. So put the pressure on the risk, and it just comes to the point. So do you want to touch it? Do you want to go into ground up? Do you want to go in existing? Do you want to touch it less and then sell it? Anyways, that's pushed us to the land development in the last deal. So which we're doing right now.
And what are you developing on the land?
So the idea of the land is it's existing partner who has been doing that for the last 40 years, actually, in California, just in the one state, California. I mean, actually in a couple of states, they do in Arizona as well. So, and then, so what they did, they bought a huge, I wouldn't say huge, like 2,000 acre, right, the land piece. And what they do, and they start to piece it out by phases. So the phase one, so what they do, they have a deep connection and a deep understanding of what you need to do with the land and how to convert that land. And then, so they go to the city and they say, okay, so we got to put the park. So they say how we can develop the master plan community, like a bigger size picture, right? So they say, okay, give me school, give me roads. I need sanitation stations for as many houses. I'm not going to say some numbers, right? And then we need a water station as well, so we can serve the water. And then you need a public park. And now the question is, okay, who is going to be paying for that, right? So the companies like KB Home or Pulte, they're not going to be able to buy that piece of land, sit on that land, take all of that risk, spend 5 years to develop the whole area, I would say, connect to the local government, right? And then push through some, negotiations, stuff like that. So they need to build it. They own a business of building. Say they will buy a piece of land with a tentative track map, with approved plans, right? And they need to start to build as fast as possible. And the faster they build, the more profit they're gonna take, right? So, and then we found that niche saying, okay, from the raw land to the buildable land, there's a good gap. And we said, can we participate in that gap without taking the risk of digging something or building something, right? Or maybe less risk of building and grading and stuff like that. So, and then what we do in here, so we basically go into the city. There's a tentative track map which is expired on that land, but it's already existed in 2018. So expired in 20 when the COVID hit. And all we need here is just basically reapply for that tentative track map. And we got all the plans, and we just finished a little bit of negotiations between builder and the city, who is going to take what and give it to the builder, and they just buy it. And that's
wow. Now, are you acting as a general partner or limited partner?
A limited partner on that one.
Limited partner.
Yeah. And so, again, our idea of the fund, sorry, Mark, to interrupt, it's maybe be less of a general partner. I would say, I would put it this way, right?
So, Mark, I have a question. So you mentioned, desire for like walkable communities, and also ground up development, because you have less risk in terms of from a management, like from a renovation standpoint, and it's also ongoing management in terms of repairs and maintenance, which can kill your budget if you're buying, 1960s, 1970s type product. There's a phenomena where, because there's a lot more people working from home, these regional shopping malls have these huge parking lots that are not utilized the way that they've been utilized in the past, because traditionally people would shop on nights and weekends. So they have, basically stacking of all the parking lot needs in a small period of time. Now people are shopping more throughout the day. So these regional mall owners have a lot of these huge parking lots that I've looked at, like that could be like a walkable multifamily development that's built right on that site. Like, have you looked at deals like that?
We haven't, but I'll tell you from my experience again, going through the Kansas deal, that's exactly what I saw, and I got shocked. So in the middle of the big, and again, it's just a single story. It's like a big space, like you said, it's spread out. Again, we're talking about Kansas, so there's a lot of land and just, flat as well. So easy to develop. And then there's two huge apartment complexes right on that plaza, right on there. So, and they built it from the beginning. They had that idea, so they didn't kind of revert it, like they didn't change anything. So they already building right on top of that thing. Basically, people just walk down and come back home, which is insane. And there's a bunch of along the other side was a bunch of very how do you say that, luxury homes. I'll just put it this way: it was a luxury homes, which is just on the border of that retail center. On the border, I was like, wow, how is that possible? Isn't it like a beautiful landscape, right, leading into that plaza? I was like, man, that's insane. Do I want to live in a place like that? Yes. But then the other huge thing was, so there's a school, which is one of the best schools for the high school. I'm talking about high school right now. So, which is one of the best schools in the region, within like a distance of, let's say, 200 miles, one of the best schools. I was like, for sure, people will pay a little bit of premium just to get in that school district. Because the kids' education, me coming from that background as well, so it's by far, for, I wouldn't put the numbers, but again, for a lot of families, that's the priority, right? To educate their child, for a lot of families, not for all of them, but for a lot of them. And they're willing to pay a little bit of premium, but to enter that school district, right? And we bought that Kansas City deal. It's entry level apartment. I was like, wow, people will be moving from Missouri, right, just to get to that school district, for sure. And the entry level, that apartment complex, 200 units, beautiful. Maybe it's not luxury, right, but it's got all the bones, right? You got the park, you got dog park, you got this, you got that, all the amenities. So people will be willing to be there. So, but again, back to your question. So no, we didn't look at those when you just put the brand new place right in the existing, like a big space.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like I got brought a deal by a regional mall owner, and they're like, "What do you think about putting a multifamily like on this like in this like a parking lot, this huge parking lot, and doing a JV on a deal like that, right?" So I'm like, okay, if I can tie this up and get all my development entitlements and approvals in place, and not have to, have the carrying costs associated with that, and only have the capital that I have associated with the soft costs. And I have, a significant amount of equity once I get that developed in a desirable area. That's like one thing that like I was like trying to like in my mind like marry those two ideas together.
No, that's a good thing.
So backing up a little bit, when you and Nikita first met, like you were like, "Oh, I'm talking to myself," right? So how did you negotiate in terms of like what the division like of like responsibilities would be? Was it like, oh, we just like each other, we're interested in the same thing, like we'll just figure this out? Or did you kind of like have a sit down from like day one, like after you did that, and be like, okay, you're good at this, you own that, I'm good at this, I'll own that? Like, tell us about that.
You want to start, Nikita?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. So we met each other when we was so the gold how to say it?
The Gold family, yeah.
The Gold family, yeah. Okay, so what was this? I think it was no. We didn't see and say to each other that I want to do this and you will do this and I will do that. So no, it was like I don't know, harmonic. I don't know how to say it. So I mean,
it took us the time to connect, to really understand each other. So we spent some days Nikita invited me to San Diego. We moved there. So I mean, we didn't move. We just go there with a family. So we look at each other, family. We'll look at each other. What's the strength? What's the
Mhm.
weaknesses? So I'm going to help him a little bit because it's hard to articulate, right? And again, just imagine me speaking Japanese. I'm going to be stuck completely. You did a great job.
Yeah, well,
So anyways, but then, yeah, so maybe you want to, on the math side, I think there's a good connection on the math side, and then social development side. So do you want to touch
yeah.
that?
Yes. So it took some time to feel each other a little bit more, a little bit deep. So I mean, to feel comfortable, to feel how it's to work with each other. And after that, so we will start to do something. And in this process, so there are a lot of different things, and some things are mine, and some things are for Igor. And that's how to say, that's not that we are choose, and that's what choose you. You know how to say, yes, that. And at the same time, Igor, do you remember? So we did we did we how we did the process. That's
The evaluation, right? Who is good at
the
what?
special process to build the partnership.
Mhm.
Do you remember it? So yeah, I have a small. I did this, not small really. It's a 3 months for 3 months course in Russia, in Skolkovo. That's the best business school in Russia. How to do the partnerships.
Mhm.
Okay, how to create it. What's really important. Yeah. So we did a lot of job to create this partnership.
I'll take it from here if you want.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you the story. Number one, it's not an easy breezy, right? It was the point we couldn't talk to each other, and that's I'm unveil the truth, right? But at the same time, this is the only way how you can bond into the partnership, because you got to go through the cycle. Oh, you know what? I hate you. You're not doing this. We're not doing that. And you guys sit down and talk, right? And then, okay, let's glue it back together, right? But we're gonna glue it the best way, right? We're gonna glue it different, and then it takes a mental capacity on the both sides. Meaning, so you got to be honest to yourself. What works, what doesn't work. You got to be open enough to sit down. Like we spent like I don't know, hours on the meetings, personal meetings when he moved to us, right? Because again, it's very important to get that human connection. It's very disconnecting on Zoom, right? And we're working through the Zoom a long time. So, but then once we get the personal connection and we sit down together, so because again, it came to the pretty tough point. So we brought up the all the knowledge again. So we educate ourselves. What's the partnership? What's the best position? How do you want to position the inside of the partnership? Do you want to do the best things? Do you want to do tough? Like, anyways, we sit down and we understand. So is it your strong part? So you're the math guy. You want to be on numbers and evaluating the deals and look at the structures, right? So how do we pay out our investors? And then can you create the spreadsheet real quick, right? Or can you just run through the model that new deal? And that was kind of on Nikita's side because he's very strong coming from the math background. On my side, I was like, I'm gonna go out. I was like, again, for I mean, like, I don't know how many years, maybe 10 plus years, professional athlete. What is that? You're the face of the team, right? You got to present yourself. You got to talk to people. You got to give interviews, right? You got to talk to your how do you call the people who's cheering for you? Anyways, for your fans. Sorry, guys, blanked on that. So, and again, and you learn the process of how to be human, how to not push the emotions, how to respect everybody, right? And then how to handle all of that energy and stuff. So, anyways, and then we put those two together. We said, okay, we're going to do social aspect and we're going to do the math and stuff. And the operation is going to be forming like that. You're going to take whatever you're doing the best. So you're good at math because I'm good at math, but it's not something I would love to do, right? Every day. I don't want to looking at the spreadsheets. Nikita really likes to look because he doesn't understand if it's not a spreadsheet. Like I'm telling you, oh, Nikita, it's a great deal. Let's do that. You're like, show me the spreadsheet. I don't care where is that. I don't care who lives there, what type of school district. Give me a spreadsheet, right? And then my idea is, okay, you can manipulate all the spreadsheets. Like I want to see people. I want to touch the ground. I want to see partners who is doing that. I want to see how they fail, what they told me when they fail, right? And And again, so going through that cycle, I think this is what giving you like the best partnership, right? When you start to work off of your back, right? And you use the best parts, and then, you know, you grow together and kind of you climb in that ladder of success.
Yeah. No, that's really great. There's no substitute for experience. And often when people are really focused on the spreadsheet, it gives me pause, because I know that, you know, a spreadsheet's great and running numbers is great, but at the end of the day, you really do need to see the people, feel the dirt, like you're saying. So having that dual partnership is really crucial to just, you know, going at it one direction. You know, I'm more like you, where I want to see the dirt and the people, and, you know, the spreadsheets are great, but I'm going to make my decision more based on my intuition and my experience than just crunching numbers where, you know, I could tweak this or tweak that. So I totally get it. That's really good that you guys have put that together.
Yeah, sometimes I see that you know, the deals that have been the best spreadsheets have been my worst deals, right?
Yeah.
So can you tell us about a time where maybe like you were looking at a deal and Igor, you were like, this is an awesome deal, and then Nikita, you were like, no, I hate this deal, the spreadsheet sucks, like, and that sort of thing, and how you reconcile that together and how what the outcome was on that.
Nikki, do you remember any of those? I can speak up.
So I remember when. Do you remember when you offered me the deal from Philip? It wasn't the multifamily deal, you know, and that's just what it was the option for us. I mean, we didn't invest not in real estate before, and you said no. It's a great guy. I know him. That's a great guy. What's about the guy? Just that's not a real estate. That's, you know, yeah. Do you remember?
Yeah. I can elaborate on that one, and I'll tell you the structure for fun a little bit. But I want to say, and it's a positive experience. And then we had the negative one, which is, I mean, we didn't lose anything, but negative because, so it's coming out. It was the ATM fund, and you probably guys heard that before. So the ATM fund, and then it came from my, not friend, but it's close from my circle. Like we were together in EOLA Entrepreneur Group. So, and the guy sent me the deal, and I was like, man, that's insane. In 4 years, you get the capital back, and then it just, you know, you just writing on 25% return per year, which is insane. And that was emotional approach. That was just very emotional. I said 4 years in, we got capital back, and then we got another 3 years of payouts, so which sounds really good. And Nikita, yeah, let's put it on the spreadsheet, and let's put it against the model was a average multifamily deal. So back then it was like 2022, I think. And then and here's the power of Excel sheet, right? And we sit down, I was like, oh, you know what? But it's earning less than multifamily. And it just moves our focus. It just shifts our focus to different direction. And we were like, do we want to do that? We're like, no. Like, you see, cold-blooded, right, without emotions. Do we want to go there? And said no. And it was Nikita power. So putting his numbers into the simple spreadsheet, right? And then numbers are telling the truth, right? This is another example of maybe not emotional approach, but more like mathematical. Like, put it in the spreadsheet, compare Apple to whatever different thing, right? And here's the results. That's one. The second one, the one he's talking about, throughout the fund life, right, was that if you get 1, 2, 3, 4 full cycles, right, you start to really be comfortable with real estate, like with syndication in general, right? And then what we saw in the market, can we do something else? Can we get some like more spice deals? Can we do something else which is a little bit more risky, maybe a little bit more purpose into that thing? So, and because of that, we start to look in the broad market of investment, say, okay, what can we give to our investors? What are the other opportunities, which is going to be safe again? Because the safety for the investment, that's number one for us. And we agreed on that on day one. I don't care if we earn, let's say, I wouldn't say 5%. I do care, so I'm not going to invest. Yeah, but if it's, let's say, if a double-digit return, right? So, and then we do another multifamily deal, or there's a very, I would say, unique product, and the company who's entering the market and they got, let's say, $10 million revenue, understanding us. So if you break that point, so you might be more established, right? There's a less risk of the company going into the death, right? And, disappearing. So we want to probably support one of those. And then we want to look at the product, and we try the product ourselves. So what I'm saying is we put a 10% of our allocation in the organic food, very unique niche, which is organic food. Again, is a huge trend. Not even today, it's going to be in the future as well. Again, that's my belief. Maybe I'm wrong. So the people will be like gearing towards organic. Like it's going to be more of like organic. What's in there for my body? Why will I not eat McDonald's every single day for breakfast? Because there's something in my body, right? And I want to kind of develop that feeling when I eat good food, when there's more energy, where there's more vitamins, right? And again, you support the people who's actually doing the good food as well. So that idea very appealed to us, right? Because again, we're coming from the background of I would say the diet, right, and the good food against playing sports and being on the other side of the planet, right? So we really understood. So the people will be like gearing more and more. So what I'm saying is there's 10% of what we do. So we focus on that, and then the guy brought us a deal, right? His name is Philip. He brought us a deal, and we were, wow, I'm so excited. So let's do that. And I tried the product once. I tried it 3 times. And I go meet with owners. I go meet with managers. I went to the plant. So, and I became more emotional talking about the purpose. I said, listen, they bring in the big purpose. They can feed the planet with something which is, let's say, it doesn't consist of milk. And they got very unique technology, which is hard to beat as well. So they're going to be bought out by a bigger company. So, and what I'm saying is Nikita said, oh, you know what? Let's do it, because he did try the product at the end of the day. And he said, I do like it as well. And he met the guy, and he understood what he is doing a little bit on deeper and connected to the purpose and connected to the business. And he was like, yeah, we'll do that. And it was like different, the story of emotions won at that point. So not the spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet as well, because it was like a 5x return on your money, or like 4x return on your money. It was in 4 years, I think, something like that.
Oh.
I'm going to stop talking here.
So go ahead and jump in, Matt.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. So I guess what in terms of like your like criteria specifically going forward are you looking for in terms of opportunities for your fund investors over the next 12 to 24 months?
Good question. So you have something, Nikita? What do you got?
No, go on.
Okay. Yeah. So again, 12, 24 months. The multifamily is core product, no doubt. So this is why we're here. This is what we do. And then this is what the expertise is. So we want to go deeper into multifamily. And one of the reasons, because it's a big market. It's huge. It's billions and trillions, right? If you connect all together, real estate. So, but at the same time, the pressure of interest rates makes us a little bit nervous, I would say. It makes us go through due diligence process 2 or 3 times more than it used to be in 2020, right? And we're still looking at the multifamily deals, but the question is, okay, what type? So can we make an assumption of the loan from the previous owner? That's going to be insane. That's a great benefit, right? If you got 5 more years, so 3, whatever the percent, like let's say 425, right? That's put you in a really good spot, right? If you can finish the business plan in 3 years, and you got a year or a couple years more of the gap, and you can just recapitalize, right, all of it, and then you bump the rent. So that's one story. The other story, so looking at the market, I'm talking about the economy itself as well. So, and it's our personal stuff. Again, I'm going to speak for us. So we start to look on maybe not A+, right, where we start to see the slowdown of the rent growth. We start to go in the middle more. So we start to look at the middle market, saying, okay, maybe it's a 5-year building, right? Maybe it's a 7-year building, right? And the people willing to step down, or maybe willing to step up. So somewhere in the middle, so we can position ourselves, right, better. So not touching the 70, like let's say 70s, right, vintage, right, or let's say even the 80s or so. So that's the second thing. And then The third thing, the states, right? Let's look at the states. Let's face the truth, right? Is it everybody moved to Florida? Do they stay in Florida, or they start to look at different places and they test it for a year, say, you know what, we don't want to leave there and stuff. But at the same time, like, Texas is huge, but everybody's in Texas. You ask the guy and everybody wants to buy something in Texas. Like, I was like, okay, let me find the state where it's a less appealing to everybody, every single one, but it's growing, all right? And it's developing. And we start to look at North Carolina. So we got one deal in North Carolina. It's doing really, really well. I was like, okay, that's might be a good state to look at when it's not certain, when it's a little bit shaky, but it's more stable, right? It's not going up and down like California. If economy hits and real estate market hits, California will discount it by maybe, I don't know, 40%, 30%, all right? Whether when you go into North Carolina, it's going to get down by 10, let's say. And again, this is my personal bias. I'm not saying it's true, but this is what we're looking at. We say, okay, where's the best state? Can we make an assumption of the loan? Can we lower that risk of interest rate and market, right? And the economy, right? Is it growing still? Is it just hit by COVID-19 and then retract back again? Or it's still growing as it grew before COVID-19? Because we don't want to be gambling with things. Like, we don't want to gamble. Oh, we get assumption. Oh, sorry, we got the adjustable loan, and we're hoping it's going to go down right now. Because everybody's saying so, it's going to go down, interest rate. Who knows? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Reality is, like, nobody knows. We might grow like 2 times next year, and we're going to get in 14s.
Well, we're in an election cycle, so I think if you look at historically, I think I saw this recently that there's historically, if we go by that, there should be a drop the election year.
Everybody's going to be having this. Well.
I'm from the place where I saw 20 or maybe 24 rate, you know, because I can believe that it can be double the next year, for example, here. So it's possible. I mean, I know that's reality.
I think regardless, there's not going to be a big move.
I don't want to. Yeah, but I know that it can be.
Again, I'm painting very tough picture, so you don't listen to me. So,
yeah. So, Nikita, what is your mathematical background? I'm just curious.
Just only university. So, when I started in the university, I started to do my first business, and so that's it. That's
so like statistics. What kind of math did you focus on, or just everything?
You mean now, or what was in my life before?
Yeah, your life before.
I mean, I have only the math education, the very strong, the very strong school, 4 years in it, and 5 years, I mean, baccalaureate and magister. Magister. Okay, sorry. In universities, I got a diploma, and that's it. I didn't work in math. I didn't work in any science, and no. I was in business. I was in business in the management. I have executive MBA, the program of the St. Petersburg University with the Duke University in North Carolina. You know, but it was a Russian education, just like a collaboration. So with one small model, two weeks in the Duke University. So I'm a businessman. I'm not in math now. I just have a math base, as I can say. You know, I have a math. My mind is like a structured. It's powerful. I think that I can solve any problem because we. What is math? It's when you're just have a lot of. I don't know. It's not the tasks. It's how it's called when in school. In a school, I mean, in the homework, for example, you have 5 or 10 different tasks to solve. You know, something, and that was my life during the maybe 10 years when I was young. You know, and in this mindset, with this mindset, I made a step forward to my real big life, you know. So for example, now I'm 44 months here. I'm like an immigrant, new immigrant with 3 kids here. It's just really bench. There's huge things that I need to solve. They need to do. There are a lot of I have 2 personal assistants, guys, and it's still a lot of things because there are, for example, a bunch of things that it can solve only me. I need to go there and call maybe only me. Yeah, and it's normal for me. That's a normal life for me because I did it all.
Are you using any unique data sets or doing anything differently than you would see in the norm when it comes to, underwriting multifamily?
Unique? I don't think so. No, nothing unique. So we have our system, how we are. It's called. So how we check. I don't remember the word.
Due diligence.
It's like a due diligence, and the banks have this kind of scoring. Maybe yes, it's the word is scoring. Yes, how we scoring the projects, but it's not the tool. It's our system. So it's a business process how we do it. Okay, but that's not the unique tool. That's not the unique software or something.
It is unique. It is.
That's the unique. So that's the unique business process, but not the unique software. Or yeah. We
So
made it ourselves during the 3 years. So
okay, so you're making your own models and constantly tweaking the model versus taking some models off the shelf and making tweaks to those.
Igor, can you help me, please? I mean, because
yeah,
you guys built your own model.
Yeah, I didn't understand the question at all. That's why I asked Igor to help me.
Yeah, I can navigate through that. So the point is, if we got multiple deals, yes, Nikita goes into the deal and he does tweak that a little bit and saying, listen, it's not going to work because of this and that parameter, right? And we want to change it a little bit and it falls off, right? And it's unique. Of course, it's unique because that's his unique background. So if you bringing that to the table, if he's shy, yes, he is, like all the Russian people. You ask them, can you play chess? And they're, no, I don't know how to use the horse, right? And then that means he can beat almost everybody in American chess. But when you ask American person, can you guys play chess? Well, of course I do, right? And then you sit down, like they can barely understand what happens on the board. So, and again, this is normal for because of the. And again, I'll probably speak for St. Petersburg and Moscow because the high level of the education, average. I'm talking about average person education, right? And the high level of who is teaching you at the university, right? A lot of times when you're in that environment back there, so you don't feel yourself unique. And the reason why, because everybody else around you, pretty high standard as well. So, but once you start to go outside world, but your perception is still there. So you're not unique, you're an average. And you start to face the people saying, and people are telling, it's not my thought, it's people giving you feedback. Man, you got a really good handwriting. I was like, really? I was like the worst person in my class. Nobody will call me to, and everybody, let's say I go to, my first one was Santa Monica College for accounting and BA. And they tell me, oh, you're going to be writing on a desk every single day. I was like, really? I thought this was the worst writing of my life. I mean, and this is the perception, like this is the feedback we start to get. And that's, I'm kind of explaining his perception right now. He's saying, oh, it's not unique. Yeah, because, now you start to understand, you enter a different world and you got unique abilities you can use and that you can apply to that business, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So, let's talk about fundraising. All right. Do you have, is your fund currently open?
Yeah, it's, and again, so let's tweak it a little bit. So we call Avista Fund, but it doesn't mean it's open-ended for like it's just a deal by deal still, right?
Okay.
And the reason we call it because we want to send the message, there's different things coming in. It's not just one thing, right? We have an ability to pivot and say, like I told you before, if we can go into the storage, go and take the deal by deal, right? Here's what we got. So do you guys want to be part of the storage deal? So
how is the fundraising environment been over the past like 6 to 12 months? Like, what are you seeing out there?
Do you want truth? So the idea was again, and knowing the economy and the cycle and what happened to us when the 2020 happened and everybody buying houses, everybody buying new cars. I mean, you name it, like the clothes and stuff. So there was so much money in the market. Like it just pumped in. Then I was scared because I'm usually when everybody excited. That's one thing I learned really well. So when everybody is buying houses, you probably want to be on the other side. So you want to sell those as fast as possible, right? And having that mentality, I was a little bit worried. But then 2020, 2021, everybody was money. We don't know where to put the cash now. And now everything turned. Everybody, oh, you know what? We got so much debt. So we got this payment, that payment, and it just kills us. And the car's flying out, right, to the dealers. Why? Because they cannot afford them, right, and stuff. And people start to change their mentality, start to kind of shrink. They start to shrink and think, oh, you know what? We're going to be 2 more times cautious about where we want to invest. Compare that to the bank account. So you go to the bank account, you got 4 or 5%, right? With no risk. Just putting your cash on a bank account and you see that growing. Actually, what I'm doing as well, right? So on part of that, I was like, listen, this is just a having, or not to say, if you go to Russia, there's 14% right now for your cash. 14% for your cash. Just think about that. It was 1940s maybe in America or something like that. So you put your cash there, right? And you're getting the 14%. How hard is that to convince anybody to invest anywhere? All right. Now, again, back to US. So if you got 5% and then cash on cash, you give them like 6, 4, 8. All right. This is very, very questionable proposition. Very questionable. Speaking of that, so people start to kind of think through the lens of that deposit to the bank. A lot harder to raise capital because, they said, why would I take that risk? The interest like keep going up and down. Who's a little bit more sophisticated, right? The other people saying, and again, so that would make us move. That would make us, okay, how we can position our product. And when the people say, oh, there's interest rate problems, like 0, no risk, no leverage, cash buy. And they're like, oh, okay. And then the next thing, so they say, oh, what about 5%? So it's like, yeah, it's a 20+% return. 20 plus. It's going to take you 3 years to match what we're doing. And if you're there for 2 years, it's going to take you 6. And then if somebody comes to you on the street and you say, I can prolong your life by 6 years. What do you say to them? Let's do it. Let's do the deal, right? So what I'm saying is there's a unique perspective we can come. So, I mean, we're doing well still, but it's tough. It's tighter right now. It's tighter. You got to be more creative. You got to position yourself. And that's another idea of the fund. So we can really reposition very quick. So, because in the beginning of the business process, we say, oh, we're going to become operators. We're going to be owning apartment complexes. But once we start to look at the market, it was like, oh, do you want to be? And listen, I know exactly that's a more lucrative and there's a lot more maybe opportunity. You're making more money. So, but at the same time, what if you want to position yourself different? What if you want to change the product? What if you want to change the state? Are you going to go fly out your team, right? And you're going to be living in Florida right now? It's possible. I see some syndicators do that. But again, this is not my idea, right? And I want to be in California and then kind of reap the benefits of the state. I want to be on the beach, but I want to reposition. I want to shift over very, very fast. And then, so this is one of the things we're doing to kind of attract more capital and ease that tension around interest rate, tension around what type of things we actually doing on that land, right?
Yeah.
So, Mark, we're at the top of the hour, man. So,
Wow, that went quick.
Yeah. So, let me close it out. So, for if people want to get in touch with you guys and learn about what y'all are doing, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yeah. So, there's a couple things they can do. One thing, they can go to the winrealestategame.com and they can download the ebook. And the other thing is just super easy and simple. So you can go to the website, avistafund.com, fill out the form. There's a bunch of knowledge, right, we're giving to the people, so to educate people around the real estate investments and syndications in general. And then Igor at the avistafund.com. That's going to be the email for general email as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, guys, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it, and we'll be in touch later and get some updates from you. Maybe in 6 to 8 months.
Thank you
12 months.
very much. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting us. It was just absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much, guys.
No
Thank you
problem.
for-
We'll see everybody next week.